This episode of Super GG Radio is brought to you by our Patreon. Patrons of the show can get our Dogs of Super GG Radio newsletter, Super GG Radio stickers, a slap on your closest PC or bag, input on what we cover, game nights with the hosts, and even a chance to win a copy of an indie we talked about. Not only that, but 90% of all patron contributions go to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. Visit patreon.com/superggradio to learn more.
Previously on Super GG Radio.
I like my hat like I like my games. The word hentai on them.
That's how I live my life, with a pocket full of guacamole. We lost Joel again this week because he didn't want to be here. Alex.
He throws off the leash, man. He throws off that leash, and then he is chasing cars like no tomorrow. She's gonna get this on my beat list, or she gets added to the beat list.
Whoa. They got real dark.
Okay.
What's good, Internet, and welcome to session 252 of Super GG Radio, where friends chat about video games and all things adjacent. I'm your host and architect of this matrix. Who wrote this? Eric Getty Gettinger. This week I'm joined by the one, Alex Neo Arona.
You know, I read this and I thought, I was like, okay, I will prepare with a spoon. I don't have a spoon. I just have a stick that I just...
That's weak.
Yeah.
You didn't even hold it up.
Flex on him. It was in camp. It was in frame. And you know what? There is no spoon.
Next time, try a crowbar. Also with me is the bad boy of the podcast and keeper of the receding hairline, Joel Agent Smith DeWitte.
You can tell that I wrote this because I made a self-deprecating joke about bald. But sure, I'll be Hugo Weaving.
He's good. He's good.
You're the Matrix Resurrection version of Agent Smith. Got it.
Not the good one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Resurrections.
I have very few problems with that movie, but that's up there. That's up there on the list.
You're saying they didn't get Elrond back?
Oh, I should go watch The Lord of the Rings right now.
No, you don't have to do that.
Just to feel better.
They're going back in theaters, guys.
So next up is our Oracle, Alec Parks.
I see bad things coming to Super GG Radio.
Not the vibes we need today, but... Alright, finally, we're joined with special guest and the keymaker, Jurge Cruz-Alvarez from Popagenda.
Hello there. I am not Randall Duck Kim, but I'm still pretty alright, I think. Yeah.
Alright.
I think that was good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, funny story, guys. You know how we were talking about how it'd be funny that somebody wasn't being heard on audio file for recording? I was on mute for this intro, so good luck, everybody.
Is that true?
Then
Is
not
there a
for
way
you.
to verify that?
There's only one way to find out.
I mean, I heard it, and that means my recording heard it.
Okay.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. I'm in control on this side.
We're really rolling the dice this week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Alex was the architect all along.
I
I
don't
have
know.
so many buttons that I don't know what they do.
I'm really scared if that didn't get recorded, but we'll have some fun with it. All right, so this week we're going to check out some vaporware. This is a term that I learned in early adopters. Alex gets his rumor mill churning with the news. There's not a lot of news this week. Then the gang plays Fallout in the backlog. Yeah? No? It's just me? Okay, fine.
What's Fallout?
You know what? First you wanted to fight Bruce Willis,
it's
and
when-
now you don't know what Fallout is?
It's when they made that game based off that cool TV show.
Oh.
No,
That
you
was
can
quick.
also leave.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
I've heard good things.
It's a game, and then it can be a show.
It's kind of like The Last of Us, where the best way to consume that media is by watching the TV show where it doesn't have any gameplay. It's peak television.
That's just not true.
Joel, I can't abide.
George, what did you think? Did you watch any of these?
What, Fallout?
Yeah.
No, I don't have Amazon Prime, and I felt when Fallout 4 came out, I was so disappointed by it that I kind of fell out of love with Fallout, even though 3 in New Vegas meant so much to me. I was just crestfallen with Fallout 4 and I was just like, I'm sure it's good. I'm sure I'll watch it eventually when when a friend comes over and we want to watch something that's on Amazon Prime and they forget to log out, and then I can still log in, and that's how I'll watch it. But before then, I don't think I will. Yeah.
Isn't that a bummer when something you really love has something happen that just completely poisons the well for everything that you used to like about it?
Yeah. Like what was Star Wars.
That was one. Yeah.
Star Wars got poisoned by me early.
I haven't gone back to it since. I don't even care to remember the last time.
Yeah. Rise of Skywalker. That's what that was. Right? That's the name. That's the name.
I enjoyed them.
I watched I watched the first one and I was like, okay, I don't need to continue.
We don't need to agree on everything, Alec. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I can survive. All right. We're going to move on to early adopters, where we play alphas, betas, and games where violence is the only right answer. Duckside.
Duckside.
Who played this?
I definitely played some Duckside.
I tried to play some of it, yeah.
I had Linux issues.
You guys ever play Rust?
No.
It's a survival game. They kind of put you. It's one of the early survival games. They put you on an island and it's just survive. Pal world without the pals, as they would say. Duckside gives you a duck, and you're just a duck who quacks and flies, and then slams his head against a tree to collect wood, and then slams your head into a rock to get stone, and you put them together, and now you have a hammer. You slam your head into some bushes, you get twine, which will then make a nest, and that becomes your home base. So you build up this fort as you would. You make platforms and walls and windows, and then eventually you get weaponry where you can go around and shoot humans or other ducks. And people are constantly trying to make their own little adventures, fighting and exploring, and also just ravaging each other. So it's all real silly. Yeah, that's as far as I got in that one. Joel, what was your experience?
Crafting a base, I didn't touch that stuff at all. I know it exists. Thankfully, thanks to the developers who do provide a decent tutorial for all this stuff for YouTube videos. A nice narrator sort of goes through all the features and options and stuff. And I saw base building and went, I'm good. So I did collect some materials. I made a bow and arrow. Flying is actually surprisingly fun in this, because it starts out feeling a little like janky and fiddly, but once you get used to the controls a little bit, you can really finesse your way around things. I got to a base where there were people, hunters, trying to get me, and they found me. I didn't know what they were until they started shooting at me, and then I got to a corner where I actually figured out how to sort of like fly strafe around the corner and get the coverage. And then I died shortly after, because 3 guns versus 1 bow and arrow doesn't usually turn out very well. I didn't encounter any other ducks, which my server said there was a medium amount of ducks in my server. So I was surprised to not experience any. But, it's a very silly thing. And it's silly in a way that could feel kind of gimmicky. It's kind of like the whole, like, give this animal a gun and let them go kind of ridiculous stuff. It could be play off that way, but like there's a legit game here. And I appreciate, one, you're not being accosted the second you jump in. You're just jumped into a spot. You get a little bit of time to be able to collect resources, start building stuff. And then you can kind of slowly move along. Another neat thing is that they have these sort of whirlwind spaces where it's like, like Breath of the Wild, if you start something on fire, it'll start having airflow up where you can use your glider to fly up. No,
I don't know what this is.
Okay.
What was this game?
Well, why don't you talk about Duckside, Getty?
I didn't play it.
Love Duckside.
Of course you didn't play it.
This is a rare I didn't get a chance to play anything week. So
Yeah. But this game, I liked what I played. Like I was having low expectations because of the feeling that it was kind of gimmicky, but it works. The aerial aspect, adding verticality to something like this helps a lot in keeping it fun and fresh. The feeling of the movement is really important for a game like this, and the fact that it's not this just like weird cluttery kind of like walking around stuff. The on ground walking is still that kind of like very basic stuff. He's got a cute little waddle that happens when he walks around, but adding aerial flight, and actually using that as part of the jumping between sections on the map and being able to maneuver around people, it was pretty fun. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I expected.
What about you, George? Have you played like any of these kind of like survival games?
No, I've never been I was not a big still am not a big PC player. So the whole genre sort of flew by me. I understood it. And this is how much of a spring chicken I am. Like it wasn't until like Pal World came out, and I was like, oh, so that's what these games are like. Okay, cool, gotcha. And then I'm watching the gameplay, and I was like, yeah, it looks like a Pal World. So that's my touchstone. Yeah, I think I think we're underselling how ridiculous the concept of a duck with a gun is, and the body of a duck and the freedom of it, and how ridiculous it is when you're just like flying and you got an AK-47 strapped to your back. This game looks like quite something, folks. This is a tiny build game. Also, it seems like.
Yeah. It's tiny build. Also, your duck has a little army hat, which is very funny in a lot of cases. So, it's good.
Tiny build always has a bead on sort of some of these off the beaten path, interesting ideas that it seems like the game is built around that idea, and this definitely seems like one of those cases. So, it's silly. I have a hard time describing it beyond that. Other than it's silly, it's not fast, which I appreciate. It is very much, at least to start, a take your time kind of game. Alex, what are the objectives of this game? Just like you die and you respawn. You can respawn.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
And it's not like PUBG where it's like you're going to be dropped out of the sky and 99 other people are going to be attacking each other. It is very much that you're going to explore and encounter things, encampments with people, supposedly other ducks, which I didn't witness or experience.
But they sure were.
I'm sure they were there. I saw them in chat. I saw them chatting.
Yeah, which is very funny. If you guys are World of Warcraft fans and you were aware of Baron's chat, it was very it was kind of close. All of a sudden, like people would say, "My mother's a lovely woman." Oh, you guys are talking about something weird. I missed the first part of that conversation, and I'm okay with it.
George, just think like the worst Twitter comment feed.
I mean, it's pretty bad right now. It used to be better. Twitter's so bad right now. I pine for the old days of Twitter. Right now, it's just garbage, So
yeah.
Oh, so with the people we follow on the internet, surprise, the video game industry can be a little horny, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you're commonly seeing like drawings and art and things like that of like people drawing stuff from the video games they like, but also accentuating.
Who did you follow, Joel?
I didn't follow anybody.
And since when is the internet like this?
These are video game people.
No. And for sure, you're not describing Stellar Blade at all.
But I didn't play Stellar Blade. That was you. That was all you.
It was a demo. I was asked to.
But that said, like it is straight up OnlyFans now. That's all it is. People advertising that stuff. So it's a wasteland.
I did not see that in the chat of this game. I just really had a good time being a duck, flying around. And Joel, when you're playing a game like Rust or any kind of these like survival games, the idea is to craft the next best thing. So you have to craft a hammer. So you have to get wood and stone. Then once you craft a hammer, it's like, okay, now you can build a base. Okay, what do I need for a base? You got to find that stuff. Then you build the base. Then while building a base, now you can unlock a workshop or, the tree expands
Mhm.
You get more and more stuff to build, and you have to get more and more resources. It's a treadmill that starts small but ramps up into, oh, all of a sudden I have now like a base that like works on its own, is like its own factory that just builds bullets and puts them in my box for me. So it just becomes like a whole self-perpetuating game. And that's where a lot of people will pick one and then just kind of stick with it, is because of that loop, because it makes like it just kind of feeds them. I mean, we played Subnautica. And Subnautica, by the end, like we all stopped at a point where we were just starting to build the base, and building the base leads to building a lab, which ends up building more stuff. You know, it does make okay, now it's building resources nonstop on my own. You know what I mean? Like it's doing it all. And that's what the fun of these games are, is that like, okay, you get that loop.
Remember when we tried to play Grounded?
One shining moment where it
mean,
was like
Grounded
the
was sweet.
beta version too, right? It was right at early access.
And some of us were like, hey, let's build a base. And then Joel is running into a wall and chasing after ants. And then, spiders.
Yeah,
those
and then
spiders were
and
horrifying.
turning on the accessibility off for spiders and realizing that was even worse than seeing actual spiders.
I can't unsee those things.
It was horrifying.
Well,
Yeah.
George, how do you feel about spiders?
I don't mind them. I mean, in my house, I mean, honestly, they usually hang out in the furnace, and in the summer, which we're about to hit, I enjoy them because they eat the goddamn flies. They eat them up, so they serve a purpose. So, all in all, I guess I love spiders. Is what I'm saying. Is what I'm saying right now.
Noted spider lover, George.
Yeah, put it on the
George
books.
has not seen arachnophobia. Okay.
I have not. I saw a Blu-ray of that at a Best Buy recently, and I was like, I want to watch that.
I'm not sure if it's a good movie. I just saw it way too young.
Oh, okay.
Let's put it that way.
I think, a whole generation was scarred by that movie.
You see, I was Chucky. Child's Play. I don't need a ventriloquist doll in the same room as me ever.
I never found that creepy. Maybe it's because I saw it on like TBS on an afternoon. But...
Yeah, see, I saw it when I was like 6 or 7.
that's so
All right.
ironic, because don't you have a puppet?
The puppets fine. Puppets are fine. Muppets, all right with me.
All right. Sure.
Noted Muppet
All
lover.
right.
Taking this back to Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy was a producer on Arachnophobia. There you go, everyone.
That's a lineage right there.
That's a connection. Now, keeping it Duckside, Getty, you learned a phrase. You learned a phrase this week, didn't you?
I learned
that
what
from above?
vaporware is.
Vaporware.
This is something that it's all smoke. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
And apparently, Alex played Vaporware Odyssey.
Yeah, I thought you guys would have the opportunity to get in on this one. I was wrong. I apologize. Vaporware Odyssey, Vaporwave, just as a whole, is like this big, like it's neon colors. It's a lot of synthesizers, and Vaporware Odyssey is a kind of soulsy. You're a Greek pedestal head who has a sword, and you're going around in this neon computerized world, computerized with like the grid floor. And
you're talking about like late 80s and early 90s aesthetic.
Yes, that's what a lot of vaporware music is, and vaporwave music. In this case, it is like, you're just this pedestal head, and you have a sword, and you're fighting these bosses in a very Dark Souls fashion. You have a dodge, a jump, and it just becomes a bullet hell that's out of control. So it's really fun. It's got a kickin' vaporwave like soundtrack, which is that's kind of where I was for that. I was like, well, you know what? Just give me the vaporwave music, and I'm in. That's something I can get behind. And in this case, it did what I wanted it to. I really liked it. And then just having like a Dark Soulsy like kind of move set to this real silly.
There's
thing.
some real bullet hell going on here too, from what I'm seeing. So that's pretty wild. Are there distinct levels, or did they give you a distinct level, or was it just sort of an open space that they send waves in?
It's actually kind of, again, there's like a world to it. I never found a load screen. I never finished. Like I just kept going and going and going. There was just more like, oh, I could go through this hallway, but the hallway is just, again, a wireframe. And I go through the hallway, and then it opens up to another, like, oh, there's a castle in the background amongst wireframe hills. And
Do we have campfires?
I did not experience that yet, so I did not find any campfires. I got to a boss who immediately decimated me.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, but I just like the idea that that it gets a big exploring Dark Souls with almost removing the graphics, and that's like the point is that you like smooth out the graphics and half the floor textures, just remove it and just make it the wireframe, and you're in, and that's fun. And so I died and it was like, oh, start all the way back from where I was. Enemies respawned. It's like, oh, okay, this is an intense one. So
Cool.
that was was it Vaporware Odyssey.
Vaporware Odyssey.
Yeah,
Looks
very
all
cool.
right. I would play this. That's what I would say. I played Vaporware Odyssey before. I played Duckside if I wasn't assigned to do it on a podcast, which I didn't have time to do. But yeah, this looks more my speed. I like Vaporware music. I'm not big on it, but I'll dabble here and there. Vaporwave, that is.
Yeah. Oh, that's good then. Yeah, maybe check it out. It's pretty fun. Now I am jealous though about this one, Getty. I was very, day one they announced Hades 2 and they're like technical test, and I was like instantly yes, let's sign up for that.
Mhm.
And we all did. And Getty's like, I don't know, I'm gonna try this out. I guess I'll try to put in like days after we all did, and all of a sudden you came back to your computer like, oh, by the way, I got into the game. Oh, by the way, beat the boss already. Like first try.
No, the second try. I'll be modest. Still,
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty sure that
It was.
screenshot said it was your 5th try.
no. It said I'd beaten the boss 1 out of 5 times,
Oh, okay.
which I haven't had a chance to go back. I played exactly 41 minutes according to Steam. Hades 2, you are playing as a different character this time. You're playing as the sibling of, oh gosh,
Zagreus.
yeah, Zag. So the new main character, she has a different set of abilities. You still have your cast, where you throw something out. The attack, the only weapon that I had unlocked, and you start with is a staff, and you have a couple of ranged spells if you hold down, and then a third ability which just kind of drops a circle on the ground, and the initial one that you get is like a slow. It stops everything that comes in contact with it. So you still got your dash. So zipping around the map, dropping my little field where nobody can move around, and then just poking at them. And then the really fun part begins when you die. And then you go through, you meet a bunch of different characters this time, highlighting Nemesis and Odysseus. And your instructor is the one who is trying to help you defeat Kronos. So
God of Time.
Titan,
Titan?
I believe.
Yes, Titan of Time.
These guys,
And
these characters are just so much prettier than before. These are
That feels like a big thing to say, because that first game was pretty.
I'm not talking about the graphics.
Oh, he's saying that they're more attractive. Is that it?
They're real good looking, man. They're really well designed. This artwork is good.
Yeah. So it's got differences.
Let's start with this. For the audience, what is Hades? What kind of game is Hades?
It's a game. It's a walking simulator. No, it's a rogue light. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely
That's as far as I'm gonna go. But you battle through. You have to complete a certain amount of stages in order to progress. Each time it gets increasingly more difficult, and at the end of each set of stages is a boss. But you build your path as you continue through. A lot of the items are new. I still was able to find a centaur heart to increase my overall HP. You still are encountering the gods of Olympus. I only saw 3 in the 2 playthroughs that I had, but they're back, and they are not having a great time on Olympus. Titans are attacking. You got to get there.
You got to attack on Titan.
It's a different thing, man.
So it's like the end of Hercules. Disney's Hercules.
I would say maybe, but you don't really get to see any of the good stuff yet. It's more like, all right, you just have to go through the same area from the first game, and then you fight your instructor at the end, and then it's like, all right, you got to go back. It won't let you progress any further, but you can still get unlocks, which I was trying out. I got a shop.
Okay.
Upgraded.
How many different weapons did you get?
So there's one more that's unlockable. Okay. I have the staff, and there was, I think it's a sword that you can get.
Okay.
I didn't really get to spend too much time on it, but this is definitely a day one purchase, Alex. Day one Arona.
George, where are you at with Hades? How's the hype train?
So I feel like I'm contrarian. I said this in front of a bunch of developers. I thought Hades was pretty good, but I didn't love it. I thought it was like a 7 for me out of 10.
You're in good company. I dropped off it too.
Yeah, I finished it and I was like, done. This is super well done, but I just don't love that genre. I very much preferred when Supergiant games had a beginning and an end. I mean, this does have a beginning and an end, I suppose.
Just takes a lot to get.
It does.
Yeah. And so I was not. I mean, I'll play this. That's where I'm at. My thing with Hades is so it's fascinating. As somebody who is a marketer and somebody who had a few games coming out now, one game, Another Kind of Treasure, who very much wanted to avoid Hades too. That they just dropped this technical test out of nowhere, and then they're just like, it's there, and by all accounts, it's just Hades. So that tells me that whatever the good stuff in Hades 2 is, it is very different. Because if they're just giving this, they're just like, have at it. I don't even care. It's not even It's not even that hot. This shit compared to what we have over here, compared to what we're cooking, it's nothing. So that's what I'm fascinated with. Like, what are they cooking? What are they cooking? Is what I'm interested in.
All I'm saying is that in Hades, they don't give you a one-shot kill gun.
That's true. That is true. That's so true.
They don't just give your crab a gun.
That's true.
It's still so cool.
George, have you played Pyre?
I wanted to so bad. When it came out, I forgot why I didn't get into it. But every time, I saw the NoClip documentary on Pyre, and I heard how Greg Kasavin described the writing, like just the way, like if you fail, the story continues, and there's just all this branching stuff, and it sounds so high concept. I was like, I need to check this out, man. It very much, I mean, it is the one, like, oh yeah, like this is the one that like only the hardcore people really dig, because it's not the greatest hits of Supergiant. And
it's the secret best Supergiant game.
It feels like it feels almost on purpose they made one like, this is going to be like the deep cut. Eventually, this isn't going to be the one, because it sounds so ridiculously ambitious and so hard to sell. And I know it's not the most successful. It's probably the least successful out of all their games, but it seems cool. So I want to. One day when it's on sale, I'll finally pull the trigger.
Put it on your wish list.
I'll do it right now.
Won't regret it.
It's
real good.
It's good. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Hades.
You're all alone, Getty. Nobody else cares about Hades.
I'll play it. I love seeing the art. The art comes across my feed, and I like looking at it.
I would watch an animated movie. I would read that graphic novel. It's so well designed.
It is a beautiful looking game. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's kind of like how one day Joel will complete anything from his backlog.
Good luck.
Armored Core.
Hey.
Nope.
That's not my fault. That's Sony's fault.
Sure. Get us out of here.
Yep. Super GG Radio is a lot like Vaporware. Alex will explain it in the break. This is the news with Super GG Radio, now with 30% more spyware. That's right, Alex has invaded all of our computers and is actively hacking us.
I
This week.
legit don't like that you have that kind of influence on my computer from there.
Oh, yeah,
I'm uncomfortable.
I'm watching Firefox constantly say that it's downloading something, and it
You know,
freaks me out.
I have access to your microphones at this point. I've been adding, like, lowering and raising your volumes and your cameras, and
Don't like that.
This app is pretty cool.
I'm censoring myself right now.
Just stand up and walk away.
I'm sparing extra Lion King time.
Oh,
I've already got an hour or two. I need to log in the books here, but
does that include the time when you just dropped like 7 swears right in a row?
yes.
Okay.
I already did my time on that one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I don't think that you did. All right, let's jump into it. So Embracer is splitting into 3 different companies. 3 different companies here. Let's see. We got
the Embracer kind of went and grabbed a whole bunch of IPs and companies and developers, and now they're splitting them up into different groups for different types of games. First one being Osmodi Group, which is publishing and distributing tabletop games. Coffee Stain and Friends, which is indies, mid-market, and free-to-play games. And Middle Earth Enterprises, which is AAA game development and publishing.
Gee, I wonder what kind of games they're going to have.
Oh man, Asmodee Group owns Ticket to Ride in Catan. That's wild. That's a shame.
I want to apologize to those who are in the Asmodee group because they're the first on the chopping block.
That sucks.
Oh
man.
yeah, they got straddled with like 50
Exactly,
million
like
or 500
600 million euros or something like that.
Yeah.
This whole restructure was a financial decision, cynically, like any good CEO does. But they divide it in a way where it's like tabletop games are great, but they're probably also the most vulnerable out of the 3 of those groups too. And so we're going to offshoot these, throw all the debt on this one entity, and then try to incur more debt of the other 2 so they can fundraise more. And then, guys, update your resumes. I'm sorry. I hope for the best for these guys, but I give it 2 years. I give it 2 years until we hear an announcement of a shuttering of them.
Oh, you're more generous than I am. I was going
I
to give
am.
them to the end of the year.
I thought about it for a second, but I tend to lowball things a little too much.
I mean, Joel, are you ready for Tales of the Shire?
Don't say that like I'm not interested or curious about it. Like,
As your cozy hobbit life awaits.
But you know that he's got to finish
walking
Golem
barefoot
first.
and drinking pints and dating some of the South Farthing pipeweed. Yeah, I'm down.
But that game has nothing to do with Embrace It, right? Because that's Private Division.
That is Private Division.
That's developed by Weta themselves, which is a weird Gollum situation where Gollum was not an Embracer Group game, even though everyone thinks it is, but it's not.
Who's Weta?
Weta is that's the Lord of the that's Peter Jackson's.
Is it?
Weta Workshop was the studio that did Peter Jackson's visual effects company, as I understand. So I guess they have game developers in there, so that's cool. So this will probably be good, actually. I bet. All jokes aside,
I'm hopeful. Yeah, and that world needs some games that aren't just about the Lord of the Rings. There's such a wide world to draw from.
It's a fun, cozy game, right?
Yeah. See, I don't like a lot of like farming games, and so I didn't think about it. Like I was like, that's not for me. But now I'm looking at this page, and I'm like, man, that does sound pretty good.
How many games I've bought because of this podcast?
3.
Innumerable.
It's 3. We can put a number on it.
How's that wish list, Alec?
I'm back down to 67.
Did you buy that Final Fantasy game?
I did buy Final Fantasy Strangers
When do you
Paradise.
think you'll actually get around to that game?
2030.
I'm at 82 games on my wish list.
I'm not looking.
When you play Stranger of Paradise, let me know.
I sure will.
Same here.
When you finish it, I'll buy you dinner.
Finish games. That's funny.
Okay, let's see here. Getty, I am excited.
You are excite
Yeah.
bike. Gori, Cuddly Carnage. This is a game that we've been hyping for a very, very, very long time. We have a beta breakdown for it on our YouTube page. Go check it out.
That came out 3 years ago. That beta.
August 29th is the date that they are eyeing for it. We'll finally get to see what is going on with Gori, with this foul-mouthed hoverboard, all of the crazy unicorns that you have to defeat.
No, they're called murder corns.
Yeah. But we all know at heart they were once unicorns. Yeah, check it out, please. This game is the hype.
Does that game still have a demo out for it?
No, it does not.
No.
Oh, they canceled the demo?
Yeah.
No, they canceled you.
Dang.
Not yet.
We're trying.
You're not even a problematic Fabe. You're just problematic.
No.
No, Joel.
Okay.
You're problematic. Trying to fight Bruce Willis. Where's Bruce Willis?
All I'm saying is that he participated in the kid. Okay, there's consequences to your action, Bruce Willis.
And gonna throw this soundtrack in the cart.
For Gori?
Yeah, they have a soundtrack.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
up for
man.
sale. It's very interesting. Yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean,
135. That's my wish list count.
okay, there we go.
Seems low.
Probably.
All right, make sure I get this dog breathing on the track. Last piece of real news. Yes, real news.
How dare you?
How dare you? Lakeith Stanfield is in talks to star and produce a feature adaptation of the hit neo-noir video game El Paso Elsewhere. Alex, you were trying to explain this to me, but I don't think I can truly appreciate. This guy's into a lot of cool kitschy games like this.
I had not heard of that, but I like Lakeith Stanfield has been in a lot of stuff that I like.
Okay.
He was kind of originally in this TV show Atlanta. He's done a bunch of other stuff since then. He was in that Haunted Mansion movie.
Was he the lead in that?
He was one of them, yeah.
Okay, that was a surprisingly dark adaptation for a Disney movie, because the last one they did is very like theme park ride, and that was very like dealing with grief and sad stories all around. He's a good actor though. Yeah.
Knives Out. Sorry to Bother You is one of the most wild rides that I've seen in a while.
Very good movie.
But no one sees where it goes. Like that.
Very good.
I like showing it to people, and then it was like, wait, what just happened? Yeah, so he's been doing good stuff for a while. Yeah, so he's looking to make this into a movie. El Paso Elsewhere is a very good take. Like it's a very good, like interesting Max Payne style game. So to make that, I feel like you can make that into a movie. That's probably better than Mark Wahlberg making a Max Payne movie.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
I mean, that's a low bar.
Yeah.
I liked that they're taking swings with indie developed games, because it's something where there are a lot of great stories that happen in indie games, but because they're not the high profile AAA stuff, they don't necessarily always get elevated to that degree, like in The Last of Us, who was did a game to movies or TV adaptation. So it's nice that people are mining some of that material to find some of the gems and turn it into something that a wider audience can enjoy.
Now, not written here because it's not news.
Oh,
J-Lo,
air quotes. There are air quotes there for those of you that can't see Alex's hands on this
J-Lo
audio form of the podcast.
is in a movie called Atlas, and it's just Titanfall 2.
Really?
It's she gets stranded on a planet with a mech that has an AI, and the mech and her have to bond, and she has to learn to trust the AI to kick some butt and save her compatriot.
Oh, this movie's coming out later this month on Netflix. Interesting.
And it looks and feels so much like like Titanfall 2. Like she is arguing with the mech. The mech looks like one of the Titans, like the orb one. It just, all of this is just like, man. The Titan like picks a flower. It's a Titanfall 2, man.
How many Decepticons are in this?
None.
And we like that?
But Quan Chi's in it. So that's, or Shang-Chi. Quan Chi's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. But yeah,
Alex just trying to get himself in trouble.
Shang-Chi is good in this. And I so that's why I'm like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, should I watch this movie? Because Titanfall's pretty good.
You should probably watch that movie.
Titanfall's pretty good.
Netflix has
like-
some weird stuff.
I feel like the fact that it's on Netflix immediately makes me go, I don't know. Netflix puts out some,
Yeah, also J-Lo's career is right now in a very steep
I guess that's true. It's not good. I liked Hustlers, but that was a few years ago. And,
That was a few years ago.
Yeah. What I was going to say about El Paso Elsewhere, I find it interesting that I wonder how the connection was made. I know Xalavier is repped by CAA, which is an agency that works in Hollywood, like for actors and stuff. So he was around those circles, and he was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made a movie out of this game?" And I was like, "I guess I'll show it." I was like, "Again, like, how did Lakeith see the game? Because it's a very I love El Paso Elsewhere. It's one of my top 10 games of last year, but it's definitely not the most big indie hit. Like, it's not the most. Not everyone knows about this game. So yeah, I would love to know the story eventually of how this happened, and also how much more stuff is Lakeith producing? Because I don't think I love movies also in the movie business, so I'm like, he hasn't really produced anything. So I'm curious why this project is the one where he's like, yes, the one with the vampire lady and the guy with who picks up a voicemail and talks about how aliens probed his ass and they kept probing his ass. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
It's just, it's a very relatable story.
It's so true. Every man. More relatable than finding a mech and bonding with a mech, I say.
You're not wrong.
Also, someone in the chat just said, unless she leaves the mech and then starts wall running, it's not Titanfall 2. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. You need to wall run.
I mean, you haven't seen all that much of that movie, right?
No, I have not. And J-Lo, I feel like, would wall run. I feel like she's a wall runner.
I think so. Yeah, she seems nimble. Yeah, El Paso Elsewhere. That's a good question where that connection happened. I know that Xalavier Nelson Jr., he hustles a lot online. So I assumed that kind of gumption and locomotion went a long way to try and make those connections too. But yeah, good for them. I'll be really curious to see what comes of it and what kind of knock-on effects there are.
Also, speaking of wish lists, shout out to Life Eater, which is a game I really, really want to play, but I just can't. Again, I have too much stuff I'm playing right now, and I just can't. But I want to.
No, I mentioned it on last week's episode where I was like, man, Life Eater looks kind of sick. I kind of want to play that one.
George, that's not fair. My wish list is big enough as it is.
Yeah,
because I gotta add that.
It's so good.
It's not to pander, but most of Popagenda stuff's on my list here.
Life Eater, Xalavier pitched it. He said this was originally a Saw game pitch, and I was like, yep, I need to play this, and yep, I get it. I see it. I see the vision. That would have been so good. But yeah.
Oh, that looks cool. Okay.
Alex, you got rumors?
I do. I got 2 rumors for you, Getty.
So you got your rumor mill going?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
All right. Hit me with your hot rumors for the week.
I don't know where Joel heard this, but apparently Watch Dogs, this series is dead and buried.
Best friend of the podcast, Jeff Grubb, mentioned on Game Best
Friend. Holy cow.
No, so
Alex sits on the couch once and on Day Mess mornings, and I'm never letting it go.
All right.
Watch Dogs series is dead and buried, which is very upsetting. I think that's a very good series. I think it's a very good, top to bottom. I enjoyed a lot of what I played. I could obviously, they were a little buggy, and they definitely leaned into a little bit of the edgelordy stuff. But the Watch Dogs 2 is excellent, and I'm very bummed. And there's talks of making it a movie, but also there's no way to make this a movie and not it just be Hackers.
Hackers was an excellent movie.
It was, but why would you need to make it again?
Hackers was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
plenty that to be modernized
Yeah.
between now.
Thank you, Johnny Mnemonic.
Do Watch Dogs 2 the movie and we're all set. We don't need a superhero Aiden.
I agree. I
What
wish I
would
played
you want out of a Watch Dogs game?
Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2. Like, give me more Watch Dogs 2.
Like what kind of changes that could they make that would you think let a wider group of people in, but still stay true to what makes Watch Dogs good?
I think that it needs to be a little lighthearted, but always on the low end of like, oh, there's going to be societal collapse.
So you don't want like a gravelly, super serious protagonist.
Yeah, that's not necessary. It's not necessary.
Okay. That was the first game, right?
Yeah, that was the first game.
Aiden Pierce,
This
baby.
guy who was in the fictional Chicago,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right. I still remember that first trailer where he used this phone and like it dropped up the plions, like block cars and stuff. It was such a cool thought in theory.
No, man. Some of those scenes in that game, like when you're in a high-speed chase and you're like, all right, I'm going to raise the bridge. That felt cool.
Yeah, it did.
There
Everyone
were,
just crashes behind you.
the game wasn't great, but there were a lot of cool moments that you could really feel like a hacker. So,
And the thing is, though, is that also like when you're playing the game, like you get to like a base and it's like, okay, it ends up being a puzzle. Oh, you can throw a little drone out, or you can, slowly take people out, or you can just go in there guns blazing. Like you could, there are certain ways to do it that it's just like, oh, okay, you can go any which way with this. And
the
you could
nightstick. Just
Oh yeah.
nailing people in the leg.
In part 2, you get like a yo-yo that like will whip around people and like trip them and stuff. And or you could like take a drone to the roof and then climb in through the roof. There's just so many different ways. It was all just like a fun puzzle.
Was it Phil that played a lot of Legion?
Yes, we both did. We both went through that one.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. And Far Cry 7 leak with supposedly the lead is Cillian Murphy, and he is there to save his family. And one of the leaks has it that there is like a timer associated with the gameplay, so you have to beat the game within a certain amount of time.
Is it 20 minutes? If you just wait 20 minutes, you can finish the game.
The rumor is it's 72 hours of game time, 24 hours of real life time. So that would be the limit. And that's where we are with Far Cry 7. It's time. I could play Far Cry again.
No, you can't.
I can't. I'm good.
I mean, I played 4, so I skipped 5 and 6.
I guess that's true. That's a decade ago. That game was a decade ago, so yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I could do it again.
That's just a series that never stuck with me. I'm sure they're good games. They're just not of a style that I would naturally gravitate towards. You guys would have to assign it to me. I'm playing one of those.
And done.
Okay. Watch Dogs.
Well, whose
2?
turn is it? Whose turn is it for video game homework anyway?
It's Alex.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Well, he's not going to choose Far Cry. I'm safe for a
no.
while.
Getty. Let's hit it.
We got freebies.
Freebies.
Freebies!
Freebies.
Freebies.
Oh, it's Killian, not Cillian. Noted.
Nope, it's too late.
Hit me.
Now you're
George,
silly
they said
goose.
freebies like that on the track. I'm going to be splicing in an actual automated free on a separate audio track too. So it's going to sound real dumb.
All right, what are we doing?
I don't know. Joel just made fun of me, so I need a 15-minute break to recover. All right.
Am I
Freebies.
tonight?
Freebies for this week. We have Industria over on the Epic Game Store.
Industria is a gripping. Sorry, no, I there was audio there for a second. It's a gripping journey, an atmospheric FPS set in the Cold War era East Berlin. Unravel the secrets of a mysterious parallel dimension while searching for missing colleagues. This is a cool first-person Cold War shooter, and supposedly it can be played in VR.
Oh well. Now
But you have to
do that.
Well, you got to use the Unreal Engine VR, so that might be a little bit of a workaround because this is an Epic game. But yeah.
Next, Lisa Definitive Edition over on the Epic Game Store.
This is a pixel art 2D turn-based RPG. I'm not going to say JRPG because they're not Japanese, but it's a really kind of gritty game. You're dealing. It looks kind of cutesy, almost like what am I thinking of?
Words?
No, not Undertale. Where Undertale came from?
Earthbound?
Earthbound. It looks a little like Earthbound, but it's real serious. Like people will like lose eyes or lose limbs, and then that kind of leaves them without them for the entirety of the game. So there is a lot of real life, like the real choices that will stick with you throughout the process of the game. It's very dark and deals with a lot of adult themes, but your choices matter, your combat matters, everything kind of matters. So
I've heard very good things about this game, and I didn't know it was free, so I just got it.
there's a couple. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. So, and this is the first one.
Okay.
Is there more Lisas? I didn't know that. Is that
I
right?
thought so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but
I could be wrong.
No, you're never wrong. We established that. First episode. Next up, Rama's Quest over on Steam.
Rama's Quest is an action survival game rooted in Hindu mythology. Invoke divine powers from the gods in your custom builds as you face off waves of Rakshasa demons.
Ooh.
Okay. All right, I see you. A little bit like a Vampire Survivors. I think it is like a little Vampire Survivors-y. Came out April 22nd, so 3 days ago.
We're at the point where Dan did a lot of Vampire Survivor also rans here.
I think so.
Last one?
Okay, also there's Lisa the Painful and Lisa the Joyful, which are apparently both in this package.
Nice.
There you go. That's why I got confused. Next.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, Deceit over on Steam.
I knew I didn't grab one of these. Hold on.
Oh,
Oh no.
I'm not editing this out.
No.
Nope.
Test your instincts at Trust and Deception in an action-filled multiplayer first-person shooter. You wake up in unknown surroundings to the sound of the game master's unfamiliar voice, surrounded by 5 others. A third of your group will have been infected with a virus, but who will escape? It's a social deduction game mixed with some shooting. Oh god, I put the sound on there. Yep. Yeah, this game looks real creepy. Real creepy. First-person shooting with social deduction.
Okay.
Deceit on Steam.
All right. So we did the news thing. Somehow we made it out. But for real, Alex, can you stop hacking our computers?
It's my code is still running. in the
Okay.
background.
Well, let's take a break and see if we can't figure out this hack. Back with the backlog. Jeez. Nope.
You named this.
No, don't fix that, Joel. We're back with the Backlog Blog, where we play games that we didn't play any of these games. Well, I played one of them at least, but George, he's going to carry us through to the end of.
Yeah.
I mean, until Alex wants to interview.
Yeah. I guess we'll start with Tekken 8, which is on this list. So Tekken 8 came out at the start of this year, and this year is so wildly busy so far, and I have not been able to give Tekken 8 as much time as I want to, but every time I play it, I am just... It feels like... I don't know what I imagined video games would look like when I was an adult, when I was a child, when I was playing Tekken, but this felt right. Like, there's a lot of stuff wrong in video games in terms of, like... terrible business models, games that are overpriced but just have wild microtransactions, and just we're all sort of making games in the same genre, and it's very easy to be cynical. And Tekken 8 is the 8th Tekken game, but it just feels like this is how we should be making them. I don't know, like it just it feels so goddamn pure Bandai Namco, like classic Bandai Namco to me, where it just has that feel and that incredible design, and it just looks gorgeous, and the music is insane. You can blast that stuff in the club. It just feels so. It is like the sports car of video games for me, where it's all like, this is like, again, it's like a Honda, like, oh look, this is just like classic. I love this game so much, and I am not a big fighting game person, but I've always loved Tekken since I was a child, and this is some good ass Tekken. It is excellent.
So Tekken was your game growing up?
Yeah, I played a lot of fighting games as a kid. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. I don't know why. I was never good at them, but I just was fascinated by them. Because they're so well made, usually. And Tekken was my favorite because it was the most stylish. I loved the 3D... It was the one 3D game that had, like, weight to me. I don't know, like, the way just stuff connected felt very good. I like Dead or Alive, but I don't know, Dead or Alive felt a little too...
Dead or Alive's a little... That's a little floaty.
It's right? A little loosey-goosey, yeah. Where Tekken's got, like, stuff connects. I can feel it. And yeah, I feel like and fighting games kind of disappeared there for a bit. 4 and 5, or 4 people was like, 4 was okay, and 5 is good. But yeah, this just felt like just such a... 7 was great also, but this, man, it's just like, what... I played Tekken 7, and I remember, like, I don't know what this team does after this, and it's just like, we just do it better. We just do it bigger. We just do it fancier, and it's gorgeous. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So who do you gravitate towards to play as?
As I do Nina Williams, and I do Asuka as well. Jin is, I mean, he's essentially he's like a Ken, but yeah, I love this game. I've just been playing the arcade mode. I haven't, because I do this in between because it's on the backlog for the rest of the year. Just when I want to play I just want to play Tekken. I just do the arcade mode. I'm just like, punch, feels good, looks gorgeous in my screen. Yeah, so yeah, Tekken 8, it's great. It's a shame. I mean, it's not a shame that games are so expensive. I mean, in some way they have to be, but everyone, like, you should just be able to get Tekken 8 on your console, and affordable, and just pop in Tekken and just remember what video games are. I don't know. I love it. I love Tekken 8 so much. It's great.
There's something to be said for just the pure fun of something, right?
Yes.
And I think what I love about fighting games, because I'm a big fighting game person, is that it boils straight down to the gameplay. Like, they got stories, but it's really kind of like tertiary throwaway stuff for the most part. You get right down to the action. To your point, the feel matters a lot. And so, like, the weightiness, Tekken or Street Fighter has gotten especially weighty. And as long as there's a logic to it, even like something like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, it feels good, but there's a logic to it that makes sense for the characters that are involved, right? What I always loved about Tekken, and I'm a person that dropped off after PlayStation 1, was all the different side stuff too. So like one of the Tekken games had like a side-scrolling beat-em-up mode. There was like a volleyball mode somewhere too along those lines. And I know you say you gravitate towards the arcade. Are any of those kind of side modes?
Oh, absolutely.
There?
As a kid, especially, like all that stuff. So like, I haven't poked around too much. Volleyball is definitely in this one. I saw it in the menu. Bowling, I don't think I saw bowling. I don't think I saw bowling in there. Okay. And I haven't poked through the rest of the stuff because there's a cinematic campaign mode. There's the classic arcade tower, and then there's what they've done is they've made like smaller 5-round arcade chunks for each character. So it essentially tells you like Asuka Kazama was hanging out one day, and then Eddie Gordo showed up and spilled her ice cream, and she decided she was going to join the King of Iron Fist tournament to get back at Eddie Gordo, and then the end cutscene is her enjoying an ice cream, or something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
That's one really great thing about Tekken is the humor. Like it takes itself so seriously sometimes that it gets the absurd. For some characters, and then just has the wacky stuff like playing as a luchador with a tiger mask, or just a straight up kangaroo or a panda bear.
The last thing I'll say about Tekken, so we don't say too long, and I think I found out why I like it so much is it feels like Namco Bandai, like this is our AAA big time game. Like they have stuff like Sandland, they have the Tales games. Tales of Arise was the last one, and that one definitely felt like, oh, this is big time Namco Bandai game, and this feels like the equivalent to their God of War. Like this is our big guns here. Like this is our best technology,
Final Fantasy,
our best artists. Like that's what it feels like. So yeah, Tekken 8, check it out. The other game on my list here is Persona 3 Reload, which is the remake of Persona 3 that came out the same month in January. I'm finally getting to this. So Persona 4 is my favorite video game of all time. I love Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. I love that game so much. And after I beat that game, like everyone else who's played a Persona game was like, oh, there's more of these. I guess I'll try them out. And then 3 on PS2, the first version was like, you don't control your characters directly. That's weird. And what was my excuse for not playing Fez? I don't remember what my excuse for not playing Fez.
It was on PS2, it was on Vita. I don't think it was anything else.
Fez was not on Vita, but Portable was on Vita.
Oh, there we go. PSP.
Yeah, but Portable was essentially took out all of the exploring. It just made it more like, it's a PSP game, so they cut down on a lot of the visual flair. It's more like
just kind of streamlined it.
Just streamlined everything, and which was weird going from Persona 4. So it felt like going backwards. I think that's what it was. The curse with Persona 3 for the longest time was like there's no perfect way that it doesn't feel modern. Like it feels like it's compromised here because they figured this out in the future games, and this one's pretty good. Oh, this one's got the female character, but it's more condensed. So they remade it. I'm not even like a quarter way through it. I like it a lot, but what I'll say is what I find. I'm trying to wonder if I'll ever love a Persona game as much as I loved the first Persona game I played. Which a lot of people say with Zelda games that like Final Fantasy games, they say that for sure. Where it's like whatever the first Final Fantasy game you played at like the most pivotal age is your favorite. Where Persona 5 is good, I liked it. I love it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. And I'm playing Persona 3 and I like it a lot, but I'm not. The style is incredible. The music is phenomenal. The character designs are fucking incredible. I like this better than 5 so far, but it's not. Where I played 4, I was like, I don't want this game to end. Like, I love this so much. This game.
I've got a very limited understanding of Persona. I played 5 through, loved it. That was my first Persona. I played some of 4, and what I gleaned from 4 is that it's a very likable cast of characters.
Yes,
there's not much of anybody that grates on.
Yeah, no,
Joel hates Teddy. I have to throw that out there.
That's the exception, but who can compare to Morgana? That's all I'm saying.
I love Teddy. But yeah, Persona 3, I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see where it goes. It's definitely, unlike Final Fantasy VII, the remake and Rebirth, which I haven't played, but as I understand, those are games that very much added a lot of stuff onto the thing they are adapting to make it a big-ass video game.
Yep.
This is still the structure of the original game. We just put new shiny graphics and new music on it, but it's still that 60-ish, 70-ish hour campaign, and it's less big than Persona 5. It's like half the time, as I understand it, Persona 5, because Persona 5 was 112 to 20 hours. Yeah. This is probably 60-ish. So it very much feels smaller scale. So in some ways it feels like, this is not as, having played 4 and 5, there's feeling like going back, but you know what? The characters are nice. The music's good. It's simple enough. It's frictionless. I'm along for the ride. Maybe eventually it'll hook me and I'll become emotionally attached to these characters. But for now, I'm just enjoying the ride. I don't know if anyone else.
For me, this was my first one. Was like the PS2 Persona 3 FES. So this is my cast of characters, and so I get like, because I liked 5 and I liked 4, but I just kept going like, oh, well, 3 is for group. And the one thing that this for me did was that it kind of reminded me though how far we've come since like when it was, you know, that situation of like, oh, this is what it used to be like, and then because you know 4 had kind of the same, and then 5 was this has been big, bombastic, and so many quality of life changes that when it came time to like, oh, I'm gonna go back and play 3, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is kind of bare bones. And I like what they've done now with things like they add gates to the dungeon, so now there's like bonus whole sections and bonus challenges and all this extra stuff. You get confidants, like you know, the your friends that you talk to very like much earlier. I remember being close to the end of the game and just unlocked a new person to talk to in the original. So now it's more accessible. You get the people a lot faster. They did a lot of good stuff here that I feel like every time I kind of started to get like, well, just going to go to the dungeon again, it became like, oh, now you get this extra bonus hallway, or now you get this bonus ability. Now you get this extra thing. It's like, oh, okay. So there is stuff to do. Even just having the person that's going to, you know, the person on the radio who's just talking to you has abilities now. And that really wasn't as much a thing in the original. So like you can have it where they'll disorient all the enemies on the floor, or will make you invisible, and all of these different, you know, abilities based on, you know, what they can do. That's like, it's very cool. And adding the like almost like limit breaks of people, or you know, the ability to combine certain personas into a single attack. All that stuff is like all just so new, but makes it have a little bit of a better flow. But if it definitely is still like a little slow.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is that the 3 remake did all the right things about what you'd want from a refresh and modernization of a game, but it's still Persona 3.
100%. 100%. Yep, that's exactly it. There's nothing wrong. Yep, this is exactly what we wanted, as I understand that people was asking for. So
I mean, it's I'm the Persona 3 person, and I'm like, yep, that's what I wanted.
Thanks.
George, Golden's on my backlog, but it's actually one I've actually put time into. How long does 4? You know, roughly. I did. It doesn't rival 5, does it?
80 hours. Maybe.
Well, you don't have that much time, Joel?
I have that much time. I'm just obligated to other games. Right?
No, you're not obligated to anything.
How long to beat has
myself
it?
To
I have my Vita here. I could figure this out real quick.
How long to beat has it? Has it roughly 70 hours?
Okay, because 4 Golden was, I jumped on that the second it came out on Switch, because that's the only way I'm gonna get around to playing it if I can play it mobile. But like many other things, it became the sacrificial lamb of things I knew I wanted right away. And I think 5 kind of spooked me a little bit with its game length.
5 was a little bit more extreme.
Yeah. There was bloat in that game that I would have been okay with cutting out. Whereas Atlas decided to add a whole other 20 or 30 hour experience.
They do that with every one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's somebody I know who's very angry at how they've handled Persona 3 Remake, like all the DLC. And I had to tell him, like, man, that's par for the course. I'm sorry. But I know Persona fans, that's just what it is.
I bought Persona 4 apparently on March 6, 2013. Apparently I kept the receipt for when I bought it. I love this game. I love Persona 4 so much. I bought it just because I got a Vita, and it was everyone was like, it's a great game. And I just went with it. I was like, sure, fuck it, let's go. And no regrets. Let's find out how long it was, though. But
Vita had some really good ones.
I love the Vita.
In spite of being this Gravity Rush. That's one that stuck with me when I had a Vita. Just such a cool open world experience. But
I need to. Okay, so here's the thing. And this is very scary, listeners. Yeah, my heart just broke a little bit. So, I don't know what. But my save is gone. I had PS Plus, so I had it. I uploaded it, but I don't have it right now. Okay. So if I resubscribe, I should be able to download it. And so I'm going to do that right away, probably now.
Well, now you have to.
Oh, you're in Sony prison.
That save means way too much to me. Yeah. So I can't. Or maybe I backed it up locally. We'll find out. No, this is an exciting This is scary stuff, folks. But we should move on.
Before you think about it too much.
We definitely wanted to talk to you about just more about who you are.
Sure,
Right.
we can just talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you are with Popagenda.
Yes.
Can you tell the audience what Popagenda is?
Yeah, we didn't talk about this at the top, huh? Hello, everyone. I'm George. I work for Popagenda. I'm a PR marketing manager. We help indie developers self-publish their video games. Self-publishing means that you don't have essentially a record label, right? So you don't have a Tiny Bill, you don't have an Annapurna. And what is an Annapurna? And a record label usually does. Once they give you money, we don't have money, sadly. Like, we can't fund your game. I mean, we're dabbling in co-publishing now, but we don't have like the big bucks. But a publisher usually like helps you with marketing, helps you with release management, helps you with timelines, and so that's a lot of the stuff we do. So yeah, and yeah, right now we're like, it's a busy time for us. We launched another Crab's Treasure today. We launched Harold Halibut the week before that, and Little Kitty Big City and Surmount are incoming. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty healthy slate of stuff coming up here. How did you find yourself at Popagenda, excuse me. What led you to that?
So I met Jen, who is our co-founder and the wife of Greg Miller, in 2017 at a charity event where Jen cooked for all of us during an Extra Life thing. And I kept in touch with her. I went to college. And I just kept bothering her, and for some reason she answered my emails. I don't know how or why, but she did, and she sincerely remembered me. So when there was an opening, again, I don't understand why, but she was like, "You want the shot? Here you go." And so here I still am.
And how long have you been with Popagenda?
It'll be 4 years in June.
Okay, yeah, congratulations. That's a good tenure for someplace.
Thank you.
Real good.
I enjoyed my job. It's good.
I especially love, again, that the games you guys kind of put out there and like you guys are working on, all of a sudden we're just like, we'll get an email and be like, "Oh, we got this game," and I'm like, "Oh, I've been looking at that one. Oh, that's a good get." Yeah, you guys have a good eye for a lot of these kind of indies. And
Popagenda, my experience with Popagenda is that like you're not pigeonholed into a certain genre or type of game. It's more like you guys seek out creativity in some way. Like when we demo this stuff, when we were there for Little Kitty Big City, it's like, hey, what if we had what was the Annapurna game with the cat?
Stray.
I almost said
Saber, what if we had Stray, but if we stopped taking ourselves so seriously? you know, or another Crab's Treasure. What if we let you just shoot stuff because you're bad at Souls-likes?
Yeah, it's like what if you made like a Souls-like actually kind of cute, right? Like it's like Souls games are very much like the like this artwork. This is art. We're gonna show you skulls on someone's belt and just like just blood dripping everywhere. And it's like, well, what if they were just like a cool looking crab, and then you fight a boss that has chopsticks that are real cool. It's like,
of course all the developers really like. All we do really is. All we do is choose people and they want to work with us. So thankfully we do a good enough job that people want to work with us, because otherwise nobody would be knocking at our door. So another Crab's Treasure is great because Aggro Crab is built different, sincerely. I don't understand. They're a team of 11 people and they made a 25-hour 3D Souls-like video game. They just did that, and that's insane to me. Yeah.
What was the first game that you kind of like I know you weren't there for like the very beginning of Popagenda, but what was the first game that you remember like kind of working with?
Man, this is gonna sound so bad because it makes you, again, I'm very lucky. The first game I worked on for Popagenda was Cuphead for PlayStation 4.
Oh, okay.
Which is very funny because it's so stupid that was the first thing I worked on. But yeah, that's the answer to that question. I don't know what else to say about that.
I mean, that's a good game. That's a really good game.
So here's the fun thing about Cuphead, PS4. And this is a fun story you're getting here, and I can say this at this point because it's ancient history. So Cuphead PS4 was accidentally leaked through the PlayStation Store, not because of our fault, but PlayStation, the store is, it's complicated. There's a lot of stuff going on. So the image of the Cuphead PS4 showed up on the PlayStation store. People were like, what? And then that caused people to dig around, and it turned out at the time, Delicious Last Course didn't have a date at that point. We didn't know when it was coming out. But our friends at Microsoft had a page for us, just a marketing page, landing page on xbox.com/Cuphead, whatever. And I think I forgot, oh my God, what did it say? I forgot what it said, but there was something, and there was enough smoke that people were connecting the dots, like, it's going to drop. It's going to drop the same day it comes on PS4. The DLC is going to drop. Again, like when people think Silk Song's coming out because it got rated, which is not smoke, but you start making up a narrative. So that was a fun thing to see behind the scenes. For the first time, people just running around with like speculating. That was really fun.
Does it feel like on your side? Does it feel like a fire? You're like, oh God.
It would if it was our fault. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't our fault on the PlayStation side. It wasn't us on the Xbox side. So
it's one of those horse out of the barn kind of situations at that point too. It was fun because it wasn't our fault, is what I'll say. So yeah.
You guys, do you guys have like, do you guys meet with different developers? Like, do you you have like kind of fact finding? Do you guys dig around like on HIO or just kind of like around like?
How do you come across the developers you end up working with, I guess?
So, I mean, we are at a point right now where thankfully have made a good reputation for ourselves, or I guess people like working with us, and the games we choose, we think they're cool, and then the world thinks they're cool. So all that to say that we're at the point now where it's like, folks usually come to us, and we are only 6 people. Like, so we can only do so much. So we're usually like, we're at capacity, and it's like someone knocks at our door, and they're like, okay, I think we have time for that, and that you seem cool, and your game seems cool. Let's keep talking. Let's see if we can make this happen. That's usually how it is at this point. At this point, we're so busy and we get so many cool people, thankfully, that come knocking that we don't really search usually. Again, okay. It sounds so spoiled, but yes.
I mean, oh my God, you do such a good job promoting indies that indies just come to you. It's the worst.
Was there a point in your time at Popagenda where it became clear, like it became a shift from Popagenda seeking out devs to where they were coming to you?
I believe I think it's about when I came in, the tides were turning. Because again, I wasn't there at the start of the company. It was built by the co-founders, so I'm sure like when they started, it was very much that of like, we got to find folks to work with and see if they want to work with us. But by the point I came on, which was 2020, at that point, I think that must have been I didn't see it behind the scenes because I was just 3 months in.
Sure.
But I think at that point, that's when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. My perception of Popagenda since we've started doing this is that, to your point, like most publishers understandably have some sort of profit motive. I know Popagenda has that as well. But the perception you have is that it's about the game first, and then we'll find a way to eke out the profit to keep us sustained. So it's a big accolade to you guys as an organization that and I think that's why you're able to find the kind of unique games with clever ideas and creative people that way too.
Thank you. Yeah, people like you a little bit more when you're not a publisher. That's what I've learned in this industry. People like record labels, but also record label's a record label. So
yeah.
It's the heartless machine that you have to deal with in order to.
Yeah, and they're wonderful. I love all our friends at publishers, but there is a fact that when the person who's funding the project, who's like, there is a power dynamic there, right? So
right,
yeah.
It's just cool overall. That's just like what you guys have, and I remember when we started the show, like we were very like still like, okay, how do we kind of make these industry contacts? Because we hadn't started like getting things like Giant Bomb or like, getting friends and stuff like that. So you guys were the first ones really to kind of like give us a shot at like, okay, you guys might be able to review something for us or something like that. It just was like, oh man, because there's like a level of like, oh yeah, Annapurna's like this weird, almost like A24-esque, like, oh, we're very, very like we're the art house films of games, but you guys just have the charming indies that we always like gravitate towards.
It's a culture thing. At the end of the day, it's a culture thing. And if you foster the right environment to work with people, they'll want to work with you. And to your point, Al, it's like Annapurna. Yeah, they're the prestige indie, if you want to call them that at this point, where you have this sort of like art house type stuff sometimes, and then it is the welcoming arms perspective that I think really helps for both the developers, but then for us as creators, and people who cover this stuff, giving us that opportunity has been meaningful, both from a like us continuing to develop as a podcast, but also just broadening our horizons on what kind of games are out there. Like prior to doing this stuff, I wouldn't have had a clue about probably half of what Popagenda does as just a layman, and so it's been a really gratifying experience from our end too. So thank you. You guys are doing good work there.
Thank you. Try your best. I don't know.
Are you guys getting ready for Summer Game Fest?
Unfortunately. I don't even know what So I told you how busy we are, and so I was looking forward. I think we were all internally looking forward to like, great, once we release Surmount, which is the last game in the sprint of games that are coming out, which wasn't planned, by the way. It's just like games get delayed, and then magically they all come out at the same time usually, which happens across the industry, where you say it's like, why are there so many games coming out in January? Well, it's like because they were probably going to come out in September or November, October, and then they got delayed, and so they got to come out in Q. Yeah, it's the whole thing. But I was hoping for a break after this, but now it's like, oh, Summer Game Fest is in June. That means May is prepped. So nope.
I think it's funny though. Like I see people like, man, this year is going to be dead, and I'm like, not for us. Oh, not for us. There's going to be so many good ones. Like I'm so like right now. I think that
I think people get the sort of shiny object of the AAA games, and last year was packed with that. But it's like, yes, there's some breathing room from some smaller, more interesting stuff to get some elevation on it now. Not everybody's trying to, do their third reroll in Baldur's Gate 3 or, I don't know.
How did you get started with gaming? Like, did you want to work in gaming or just in general, like PR? And then what were you playing as a youngin?
Let's see. I mean, that's a long story. That's a big story. So let me try and truncate it. I got into games because at some point my father got me a Super Nintendo and a Genesis. I mainly played a lot. Like I played Super Nintendo Genesis, but I don't have super fond memories of games I like saw through in that era. It's more like I dabbled in stuff. I played a lot of Sonic, but I never finished Sonic. I played some Tekken, whatever the hell. It wasn't until like PlayStation 2 where I was like, all right, I'm finishing Kingdom Hearts. I'm finishing Jak and Daxter. I'm playing through these games, and so those were very seminal games for me. At the time, I loved Kingdom Hearts. Now I'm like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
And then I jumped. I got out of PS3 360. It was more of like my parents split up, and so it was mostly like finances were weird. So like you're not getting a PS3 cost $600, and the 360 I was like, the Red Ring of Death, whatever. So I kind of just didn't get a PS3 until 2013, and that's when I got back in, and I started watching IGN. Started watching this Greg Miller guy. He's loud. I don't know.
He's real loud, yeah.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's tall.
He's very tall.
Yeah, he is.
He's like 6'4".
He's very tall.
Power.
And so I started to get into games, press, and podcasts, and I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. And I was like, maybe not. But when I went to college, once I moved out of my parents' house, I was like, sure, let's try this out. Let's try and make some career in games and communications or marketing or maybe a journalist. I doubt it, but we'll find out. And I pivoted to marketing quickly because I pivoted to marketing because I saw the Double Fine Adventure documentary, which, if listeners don't know what that is the documentary of the making of Broken Age, which is one of the best video game documentaries ever. That and the sequel to it, which is Psych Odyssey, the making of Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts 2, right? Yeah.
It's incredible. It was so when I was watching that, I was like, I think I could fit in here. I think I could get the skills that I could be of use to these really cool, wonderful people. I think I can make it happen. And so I think that was the big one where I pivoted. And I've told Greg Rice this on the record. So yes, on the record, that is the thing that I was like, I'm going to go this route. Yeah.
Okay. But so you're a Sonic person.
I am a Sonic person, sadly. So you're a Sonic
Welcome
person,
to the
right?
club. Yeah,
I'm a Sonic
you're in
person.
safe company here.
Yeah.
I beat
did
Sonic
not
Generations like last year.
I did not like Sonic Frontiers, though. I'll tell you that much right now.
Did you play Sonic Generations?
Oh yeah. Sonic Generations great. I got it when it came out. I got it for Christmas the year it came out, and I beat it. It was very short. I think I beat it.
It's like 4
I beat
hours.
it that night. I think
It's
I
like
beat
4
it
hours. It's pretty short.
I beat it the night I got it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still play it. It runs at 4K 60 frames on Xbox Series X. Looks gorgeous.
Nice.
How do you feel about Sonic Television?
Sonic Television. So I did not. Well, I did not watch Sonic Boom, and I did not watch Sonic Prime. So I guess not very much.
Watch Sonic Boom. It's really good.
Is it?
Really good?
Memes.
It's really good. Yeah, but my family and I sat down and like watched through that whole thing. It's absurd. Robotnik has the funniest lines in the world and has this shriek that has us cracking up every time. Give it a shot. It's real good.
How do you watch it?
I think it's on Hulu.
Okay. I have breaking news, everybody. So if you saw, this is in video, right? People are watching this right now,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So you might have seen me staring down. It's because as soon as I turned on Persona 4 and that save was not there, I was like, I have backup on my computer. Maybe it was there and wasn't there. So I was like, okay, I'm going to subscribe to PS Plus right now. And another fun fact, viewer/listener, I have a hacked PS Vita.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know if this thing's going to connect to the PlayStation Network when I buy PS Plus. It did. So we're downloading the save. So
Nice.
Ah, yes.
Congratulations.
okay, folks.
How do you have a hacked Vita and it's downloading the save?
Okay. Listeners of people who enjoy doing crimes. Nah. Here's a fucked up thing. Here's a fucked up thing that I've learned. If you hack your PS Vita and you play games on it, you can still sync your trophies for those games.
What?
That's the most fucked up thing ever.
Wow.
That shouldn't happen.
I just feel like that speaks more to how Sony feels about the Vita.
They're like, you can have it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyways, what were we talking about?
Oh, Sonic Boom, I think, was the last
Yeah, that is what we're talking about. I will
Yeah,
watch
we had a
Knuckles.
hard stopping point there. So
Yeah,
we can
I'll
move
probably watch Knuckles though. I didn't. The Sonic movies.
Uh-huh.
I'm so happy for my Sonic fans that they like them, but I'm like, guys, they're fine. Why is there a whole wedding subplot in this movie? This is a Sonic movie. I love the art for the characters. I love the performances, but the story, I'm like, what are we doing here? I don't know how everyone else feels about those movies.
No, I did not like them. I think that I just think that they're generic. I think that if you remove Sonic, it's the same movie.
Yep, I agree. Yep. Okay, so 77 hours is the answer for Persona 4. I have 77 hours. So it's
Noted.
There you go.
77, yeah. So there you go.
You got 77 hours, Joel.
You do.
If you combine all the time you spent on Elden Ring,
Or Vampire
Armored
Survivors.
Wait, no. I want to
Or
go
My
over the games
Family.
you didn't finish. Because if you combined all those games, didn't you try and play SMT 5?
It's still sitting here. I haven't traded it
I
in
don't
yet.
believe
For
that.
you,
Hold on.
Getty.
Man,
I don't believe it.
SMT5.
What was the new Atlas game? What was the new Atlas game that we have not talked about at all? Metaphor Re Fantasio.
I thought it was Unicorn Overlord or something like that.
That
Isn't
one's
that
already
also
out.
an Atlas?
Well, everyone's over it. Everyone's over it.
Oh, yeah?
We're on the other one. Metaphor Re Fantasio.
Shout out to Unicorn Overlord though, because that game came out, and it came out during a very busy season. Yeah. And there's a steelbook of that.
You could still have the case
In your face.
No,
right there.
Is it in there? Did you lick
Right
the cartridge? It doesn't count.
Lick the cartridge. Oh, lick the cartridge.
Lick the cartridge on air.
Cartridge, I think.
It's called Bitterant.
I love that was one of the first stories that came out when the Switch came out. People are licking their cartridges and realize that it's sour.
But to the point where I was gonna say, like, shout out to Unicorn Overload. That game sold very well. Like, people were like, it only sold 500,000. Like, that's crazy for that game. Like, that's successful for that game. So that's awesome. I was worried that because I didn't play 13 Sentinels, but I really like Dragon's Crown, and I really love Vanillaware existing. So I was like, as long as they keep making stuff and I just feel comfortable that's out in the world and sometimes it comes across my desk and maybe I have time to play it, great. But yeah.
Looking at Metaphor Ray Fantasio does look pretty sick.
Yeah, I'll play it.
I'm pretty interested. It's like a medieval Persona.
Again, the marketing person in me is like, I want to know what that Xbox deal was, because they got, how did Xbox get the marketing deal for that game is what I want to know, because it's on. Is it on Game Pass or no? Oh no, it's if it is, they haven't said it. It's just
it's just Xbox exclusive.
Xbox. Well, no, it's just like
Xbox
all
PC.
the Xbox trailers like have the Xbox being like
it's
only Xbox footage when they showed it for the first time, which matters a lot. If you work in marketing, that's a whole contract. That's a whole
really?
Lots of money. Like that's all pen and paper. It's all like we have this first reveal for this game. We have yeah. So that's interesting. So to me, anyways.
Wow, no, that's awesome. We like the peeker behind the curtain. All right, Getty, you want to get us out of here?
I mean, we can. It's up to you.
I'm into it.
All right, we'll move on to our last segment of the night. One last thing, and this week's one last thing is brought to you by Joel, constantly trying to fight celebrities in his free time.
Only ones I can win.
George, how do you feel about Fifth Element?
I have not seen Luc Besson's The Fifth Element. I have a digital 4K copy that I will watch one day, is what I'll say, because it's in 4K, and I enjoy films in 4K.
It is a perfectly fun movie. You will enjoy it.
It's a really good movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
That's a stretch. Come on.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane and The Fifth Element. Those are in the top.
Listen, I like my movies to not make any sense. And
it made perfect sense.
You just need them to be super green.
Yeah,
super green. Super green.
So my one last thing, not going to be playing very many video games this weekend. I'll be at C2E2 hanging out with Alex the Game Day One Arona.
I will be at C2E2 this weekend, trying to get the McElroys. I'm trying to I have a standing temp date with them to interview them, so we'll see. But I will also be running around. I guarantee I will I will probably run into some sort of Kevin Smith affiliate again on accident. I keep running into them every time I'm in. Like they're in town a lot, and every time I'm at the cons, I will just be walking one way, and they will just like slam into me, and I'm very surprised. And I'm like, oh, you're what's walking around, huh? Okay.
Define affiliate.
Last time was Dante from Clerks.
Oh, all right.
Just hanging out.
He was walking. He was being rushed by a bunch of guards, but they were behind him and not in front of him. And I just happened to be walking away from the voice actress of The Little Mermaid.
There you go.
He's going to be chasing celebrities.
Yes, that's what the writing gig is.
Joel.
You're not telling me my weekend plans.
You don't have to. This is your one last thing. You tell us one last thing before we can end the podcast.
Sony, you're dead to me.
All right.
Again, it's so weird that it's like you're not the only one.
I'm not the only one. What?
Oh, Phil got my big
okay.
brother got locked out of his PlayStation account, and all of a sudden he's like, "Well, I'm done with PlayStation."
Yeah, in theory, it shouldn't be a problem, but it was a mixture of like, Sony, you hurt me. Plus, PS5 has nothing I want to play right now. So,
George, have you heard this? People, if you get your account locked out, they sometimes ask you to go to the original PlayStation you started the account on.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's wild. Wait, you're telling me I'm the guy who just has a hacked Vita here and got PS Plus to re-download his Persona 4 save and his upload, and I'm not locked out, but you're locked out.
I'm not a criminal, but they put me in Sony jail. Like,
and it happened to my brother too. My brother's like, I'm dead. Sony's dead to me. I don't have my PS3 from like, over a decade ago. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to find my PS3.
Didn't they also ask you for like any receipt that you have for anything that you've ever purchased?
What was the last 5 purchases on your account? And I'm thinking like, I don't know, man. They were probably PS Plus redemptions of some random ass game I'll never play. Like, come on.
Yeah,
that's what I was doing right now. By the way, I was redeeming Immortal.
Redeeming PS Plus games.
I was like,
I'll play this one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alec, did you have anything?
Yeah, I've just been gifted Monster Hunter World, so looks like I might be playing some Monster Hunter.
Okay,
Alec,
hold
is
on.
that for PC?
By whom?
I didn't do it.
I can start installing that now. Like,
I can start installing.
You got a group to play with.
Yeah,
I've already got a group. It was Kevin, one of a friend of mine, one of our players in D&D. He got it for me, for Anthony, and for Nick, and then himself. So that's already 4 people.
Well, fine. You're dead to me too.
Yeah. That's fine. I wasn't going to play anyway. So good thing you got 3 other people to play with you.
Yep.
George, would you care to give the listeners one last thing?
Check out Another Crab's Treasure on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, and Switch. Check out Surmount on PC and Switch next week. Those are good video games. That's all I got. You can find me at Jurge Cruz-Alvarez 26, I guess. I will be playing Stellar Blade probably this weekend.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. I've heard decent things about the gameplay. I've heard comparisons to Nier, which is like a real hook for me.
I love Nier. Nier Automata's top 5. I love that game. One last thing I want to leave people with. I bought the Rock Band guitar.
Oh yeah.
So invest in your Rock Band stocks now, folks. That's what I'll do.
Oh no, we went through a thing where I was like, I want to get that back. So I started like researching, and I found that like in my area, it's a ridiculous price.
Yep.
It was like $400.
Yep. I have a Target Red exclusive Rock Band 4 complete in box that's worth $600.
Jeez.
And I got it from my wife got it for me for Christmas, and I'm like, it's the best gift you've given me.
The worst part? We were all in college playing this damn game for hours on end in the middle of the night. So at some point we had access to that stuff.
Yeah.
And then one of us decided to get rid of it, or it's in somebody's basement somewhere. It's like,
and the one thing that wasn't in the news was that they just made it so that it works with the Fortnite games now.
Yeah, do you want to do that though?
Wait, you can play Fortnite with the Rock Band controller?
I played.
No,
that.
they have the Rock Band section where you can like do the note
festival,
highways.
Yeah. I played that stuff, man. It felt like Dookie. I'll try it again though.
Yeah. And then just for reference, my stream started slowing down real hard because I just purchased and was installing Another Crab's Treasure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for valuing all our
You're
time.
hacked into all of our computers and you're downloading games.
Man,
Not my
that's gonna
fault.
buy 4 more copies and force install them on us too.
Okay. Well,
I
mean,
don't know if this room could do that, but I'm gonna find out.
What'd you say? Another Crab's Treasure? If you're going to buy me a copy, do it. I need some of that Halo money that you got, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means.
It's Halo money. Don't worry about it. And that'll be it for this week's episode of Super GG Radio. Before we go, oh wait, we are affiliated with NPR of Illinois. I almost forgot. Yeah,
They know about it.
We're still on their front page, so jokes on them. Before we go, you can find us on X at Super GG Radio and twitch.tv/Super GG Radio, where Thursdays, like tonight, our podcast night, come stay a while, listen to us, hear us make fun of each other, try and fight celebrities, normal stuff,
interview interesting people.
Yeah, we do stuff here.
Sorry,
Sometimes
George.
we have games. Wednesdays, Alex is playing Monster Hunter. That's still a thing. You're gonna finish the Sunbreak.
Sunbreak. But I mean, if anything, maybe I'll just jump into World with Alec.
Does he know?
Alec, you want to get into this?
I might.
Okay.
All right. Well, that could be a thing. So still Monster Hunter. Mondays, Joel is entrenched in Mass Effect, being the bad guy.
Good luck with that.
Such a good idea, though.
It is a good idea. I'm not doing it. I quit.
You quit being the bad guy?
No, I'll still be the bad guy. I'm just not doing that stream until we've got people worthwhile to watch and pay attention. Until then, Vampire Survivors 24/7. Deal with it.
You do like Vampire Survivors.
Sincere flash warning for anybody wanting to watch that. It is... Boy, don't watch this if you have epilepsy, please.
Yeah.
You are out of control with Vampire Survivors. I don't know what's happening on the screen half the time.
Dude, sometimes I need to take a break. It's like
You should take a break and play Mass Effect. Anyway, George, how can people follow you?
You can follow me on twitter.com, I suppose, at Jurge Cruz-Alvarez 26. You can find me on Letterboxd. Well, how about that? That's my Letterboxd. Find me at Jurge Cruz-Alvarez 26 on Letterboxd.
Is that the movie review site?
The movie review site. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We'll look out for your Fifth Element review.
Yeah.
When I watched Luc Besson's The Fifth Element.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, let's get on that. Live tweet it.
And I watched actually Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. Luc Besson's Valerian in the City.
Okay. Oh, word. What was I watched I watched Baz Luhrmann's, what was it? The Great Gatsby recently, and I was like, man, that sure is a film. It's something.
Okay. Yeah. It was a book too, but I think that the book wasn't as flashy. If you'd like to reach us with questions or input, our email address is mail@superggradio.com, and provide us a review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice. Thanks for listening, and good game, George. Good game, Alex.
GG.
And good game, Alec.
Good game.
No, Joel. You don't get a good game this week.
I don't deserve it. It's fine.
All right. Thanks for listening.
The GG fighters have been brought to their knees by the weight of their own ambition, drowning in a pool of the best reviewed games yet. And with Summer Game Fest looming, Jurge Cruz-Alvarez arrived in the nick of time to pop the agenda with an indie spirit bomb. Will Phil get released from Sony jail? Will Joel stop hitting on dying celebrities? And will George stop responding to my DMs? Find out next time on Super GG Radio.